Barry Martin Snyder here, and our website is luminousself.com. Yesterday morning, I got up to clear skies on the coast of Northern California, which is unusual. The marine layer was far out to sea, nothing but blue above me. Karen asked me to go walk on the beach, which sounded like a splendid idea. I was in a rapturous, luminous state of consciousness, being fully resident in the One. I saw and walked in the luminosity that is behind all things and through which all things arise. Everything arises in the luminosity of the One. Even death and distortion that is so prevalent on this planet are held in that One. There is nothing but that One. This morning, I woke up seeing the other side of the coin. Some things were purging out of the system. The liver and the gallbladder and the colon. Been doing some deep inner stuff with a healer here who's really helping releasing things deep in the soma, in the pelvis, the legs. As this moved through, I saw the other side of the coin, as I said. I saw this dying world. And as I've heard many times, that at this end of the cycle, at the end of time, the only true mission or purpose is to walk gently through a dying world with great love, leaving only footsteps of light. And I knew this morning that we stand at the brink of where this dying techno-industrial world culture is about to take another level of dissolution. And that its collapse will accelerate, as it must. Karen said something yesterday. I mentioned watching the Hopi prophecy from Old Arribi village with Thomas Banyakya yesterday. It was very moving. It was done like in the 70s, but it was incredibly moving. I think I'll watch it again today. They saw so many things so clearly. Well, but they prophesied this time when the paths would divide. And those who took the materialistic path of technology and innovation, attempting to assert man's will in this world, would thrive, have great power. But then the great purification would come, and all that would pass away, and only those that were humble and close to the earth and God a few of those would make it through. They saw the great gourd of ashes that would fall from the sky long before we knew of an atomic bomb. But their prophecy said the time would come when that gourd of ashes would fall, and that was coming into the end times, the final moments. And they spoke to that after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Their prophecy said the time would come when man's technologies would run away from him. And he would nearly destroy himself with it. I think if we look around, we see this. And with AI, we're definitely in those last moments. Facing this is difficult, but facing it as it is, we must. Because it must pass away. As I mentioned earlier, Karen said to me yesterday, quoting Christ Jesus' words, "You can't put new wine in old skins." The world that is to come is magnificent, an illumined world of soul-awakened human species. The species is literally coming to its end. Homo sapiens sapiens is in its last hours from an evolutionary standpoint. Actually, probably last minutes or seconds. And what will come out on the other side of this singularity is Homo luminous, a fourth and fifth dimensional being. There'll be nothing like what we see when we look in the mirror. Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's work was all about bringing this forth, with the descent of the supermental and the birth of what they called the Superman. A human existing not only at another level of consciousness, oneness with the source, but also living in a form that reflected it, a form that did not decay and die. Now we are in the moments where Jesus said, "Heaven and earth must pass away, but my word will not pass away." As we plunge into the white hole in time, taking us to singularity, we will see this alternating perspective that I saw the last 2 days. Great illuminations, great seeing beyond the veils. And then we will look at the darkness of a dying world. An oscillating dance. And for those that have been in denial of the dying world, this will be unavoidable to face sooner or later, and much sooner. Our role is to hold the light at the end of the tunnel. The light of singularity when we will walk out into that new world. A number of years ago, when asking about the path forward, I was shown a dark tunnel and a bright light at the very end. And around that tunnel, on both sides with chaos, destruction, distortion of all kinds playing out. And it went clear down towards the light. I could see it going out in front of me. And there was a light above me shining down on a flagstone that was just in front of me. And I heard, just take the next step. Take the step that is revealed to you now in the moment. And know that you are walking to that light. And hold the vision and the knowing that light is where you are going. And what's really important is don't walk off the path to either side and get involved in the chaos and destruction of a dying world. Give it no truth, power, or reality. And just take the next step as it's illumined, heading to the light. And you will see the path flagstone by flagstone, even as the storm brewing on either side of this tunnel increases. And this is what's ahead, my friends, and we are already in the middle of it. What shines the light showing us the next flagstone? The communion of our soul with the source, God. That is what's guiding us to that light at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing else that will get us there. There's nothing else that will evolve us into that new species that is coming, Homo luminous. But we must die to our human sense of self, to seeing ourselves as this limited physical being with all the identity that we formed around a lifetime of living in this world. Or that singularity ahead, which is in essence where that bright light is at the end of the tunnel. None of this goes through. And it will be systematically stripped away as we move towards that light. And we will become more luminous from the center of our soul, infusing all of our subtle bodies and chakras with the light of the One. And we will be lifted and raised as long as we hold that light at the end of the tunnel and take the next step in the light and surrender ourselves continually to the One, falling more deeply into the core of our being, where we realize that we are aspects of that One, the I am that I am. Be aware of the nature of the ego, for it arises in this world through the physical form, deeply identified with the ongoingness of material reality. It resists again and again, distracts, projects false hopes. Oh, just the next this or the next that will bring us fulfillment in this world. And the only fulfillment comes from within. And yes, while we can still see the beauty of the light of the One shining through life here, the natural world, as I did on the beach yesterday. Know that even these forms will be changing, many leaving, as they are. Again, Yeshua said, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will not pass away." The word is the vibration of the One coming into form, spirit entering matter, spirit raising matter. And not only will earth pass away, but heaven, the heaven that we experience from the perspective of this third dimensional reality, will be an entirely new and different reality beyond this. Now understand that perhaps only a very few will remain in physical form through, into, and beyond singularity. And that's simply to be as part of this. But our timeline is assured, and we will wind up beyond that singularity. We will exist in our body of light. And we may come back to that new earth heaven, or go on to some other place in the multiverse for its graduation time. It's time for the next steps in this endless journey back to Source. Now this is but a blip on the screen. Ultimate reality. Years ago, when I went through a very dark time, looking at the state of the planet, and Karen and I have been doing a lot of work traveling all around the West, and it just came into a cessation where the calls stopped coming, and nobody wanted us to come to their town or city to do our work. And I became depressed. I thought, oh God, so much needed, so much awakening needed. I'm not even being utilized. Why am I here? And I had been shown this time of the dissolution of the old reality and what that might mean many times, clear back to the beginning of my awakening journey in the 70s. And there's so much that we love about this world, just as it is, even with its impermanence, even with aging and disease, even with competitiveness and distortion, even among animal species. You still feel the one here. You still see the life. And there's love for this world. But in the time of facing the future and lamenting this, one morning I was sitting, and what I heard was simply, the multiverse is a very, very big place. And eternity is a very, very long time. And suddenly, I was lifted to see the immensity beyond immense of it all. eternity is. And all this became just a noticeable blip arising in that. And in that moment, all my sadness and worry and grief just fell away. For I saw just how perfect it all is in its imperfection. Worlds, stars, being born, planets thrown out into galaxies, existing for a while and passing away. Stars going into supernovas, turning into black holes. Creation, continuance, and destruction, on and on. So, my friends, we come to an end of a cycle. When seen in its beauty and even its ferocity as beautiful, there's a peace in it and an acceptance. For we know that every dissolution and dying is a doorway to a rebirth, to something grander. And this planet is going to something far grander. Gaia Luminis, a luminous earth. This is what lies ahead at that light at the end of the tunnel. So it is for us to remember that we will surely go there, and all that is asked of us is to go deeper into the core of our being and surrender to the wisdom, the guidance, the love, the light of that one that is carrying us through this. And not to get caught up in this dying world. As Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. We can carry no one with us, and we need not. Everyone will walk their own timeline. It's occurring now rapidly. And you will experience many people who you never know coming into your life, and many who you thought would be with you forever leave. Karen and I are experiencing that, and many people who come in our sessions are experiencing the same thing. The timelines are all diverging and coming together. We'll be exactly where we need to be through this process. Faith and trust, my friends. And that comes through continual surrender and seeing that we are carried by an intelligence that is so loving and so powerful, impeccable in its care for us. That's our only lifeline in the storm. That's where we find the peace that passeth all understanding. So we shall walk together on this journey a while. This morning I could see once again that I am preparing in the not too distant future. And again, time is not something that can be spoken to here, but coming to the point of being ready and at peace to drop this physical form. That time will come when the greater service will be beyond this world. So we all walk to to the edge of that moment together. When evolution takes us on whatever timeline it is, beyond this world, or even possibly through singularity, well informed. And that is almost assuredly predetermined. So let us walk together for a while. We are here if we can assist you in any way, especially to go more deeply into and find that God lives in you as your true self. That's what's asked. And that you are but a drop in the ocean of that one, always carried, always resting in it. That really is the evolutionary doorway. That's where we need to set our sights. Much love and many blessings.